JJ Burnel, great to have you here at noise11.com. We had you here last in 2023, only a couple of years ago. And, you had the Dark Matters album that wasn't too old at that point, which was a nice touch because I think this song and White Stallion were included in the set list at that time and gave us a real start to where you were up to with the Stranglers. Is that what we can expect in the 2025 shows?
No.
Whoa. We're hearing it here first. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, you can expect, well, I mean, we don't deny anything from the past. And so I think it'll be all inclusive, I've got no worries about covering 50 years of career. So I hope we can sort of touch all bases.
When you say 50 years of career, I started in radio in August 1977. I think the first Stranglers album came out in April 1977. So we're starting around the same time. Let's hope we're not ending at the same time.
You go first.
Thank you very much.
Les Anglais après vous.
Yeah, well, okay. I want you to play Peaches at my funeral then if I go first.
Yeah, you've got a deal.
That was one of the first songs I did play of the Stranglers on Australian radio back in 1977, and that bass line is now considered one of the iconic bass lines of all time. Did you have any concept while you were recording that, starting off that song with your bass line that would, all these years later, someone like me in Melbourne, Australia, would still be asking you about it?
No, not at all. But I thought I was just copying what I'd heard quite recently. At the time, we were commissioned to augment a Jamaican sound system. Because our first label was a reggae label, Safari Records, and they didn't get us any gigs or even pay for any recordings, but we were signed up to them. And so we turned up with our little PA to add it to a Jamaican sound system. I'd never heard anything like it. It was just delays, bass, drums, and a lot of space. And the next day I tried copying it, and it came out as Peaches. And we never, when we tried copying things, we never succeeded. We were never successful, and it just came out Strangled.
Do you still have the same bass guitar?
No, my original bass, which I recorded with Peaches, was bought by Adam Clayton from U2.
Oh, wow.
He made an offer for it because I think U2 are starting up some kind of museum in Dublin. And so he made an offer, and I thought about it, and I said, yeah, because it's unplayable. I smashed it in two. Stuck, it's glued together. So it's going to appear in Dublin, I think, one day.
But that's fantastic in itself, and that carries on the legacy. Like people in years to come will be able to walk into a room and see the guitar that created Peaches.
With all its damage, the blood. At one point, I nearly sacked a new road crew member years back because he cleaned all the blood off the guitar.
Really? Blood on the guitar?
There was a lot of fighting in the early days. Almost every night there was a punch-up, yeah.
Wow. The fun old times. It's, I guess, in some ways sad that Dave and Jet aren't around to see you carrying on the legacy like this. But it is great that you are carrying on the legacy like this.
Well, it's been a seamless change, I don't know what transfer of power. The Jet wasn't very well for a lot of years in recent times, so we quite often had another drummer. In fact, I think over the course of the years, we've had 7 or 8 drummers filling in for Jet when he wasn't very well. So it wasn't quite a surprise when he passed away. Dave was much more of a shock. And of course, I thought we could never replace Dave. He was unique in his playing, except there was this one bloke who had been studying him for 35 years and knew every single note that he played. And I'd already met this guy 20 years ago, Toby. And it's been a seamless, really, replacement, really. He plays like Dave. Um, you wouldn't notice if you shut your eyes, it's Dave.
Well, the number of times that I've seen this band, in the more recent tours, I've been astounded by how close to the original sound you can take this band to at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite surprising. I mean, there's no real intention to change the sound. It's just evolved over the years. I think what's evolved is the songwriting, the sound. Okay, the sound has changed as well because with different technologies, we've used different. We've tried to keep up to date with the technologies.
The last Stranglers interview I did was with Baz Warne a couple of years ago, just before he came to Australia. Now, Baz said in that interview that if you decided to leave the band or if something happened to you, the band would be no more. What's your thoughts on carrying on the legacy of the Stranglers after you're not around anymore?
I think he was correct. It's all down to me now, and because that's the connection with the past. I don't think it would be very credible without me anymore. Um, Having said that, it's just a fucking band, you know. I mean, football teams change, you know. So there's
There,
no real.
there are no original members in the London Symphony Orchestra.
You got it. There's a
Yeah,
cat going around here somewhere. That's very funny.
yeah.
I can you can't hear the cat, can you?
No, I can't hear the cat.
It's-
Yeah, I've got my executive producer just sitting up here.
yeah, he's great. What's his name?
This is Winston. Winston, just
Winston.
Winston after John Winston Lennon,
Okay.
not after the other guy.
Okay.
Here we are in 2025. Are you amazed that something that you created 48 years ago is still what's paying the bills today?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. Well, we're kind of entering uncharted territory because when we started out, we thought we'd be lucky enough to afford a demo and then maybe get picked up by a record company. But had no long-term plans. There were bands. Well, if you think about it, in '77, a 50-year-old band would have come from 1927.
I don't think there were too many interviews in 1977 with people
No,
that were
exactly.
around
So,
in 1927.
no, exactly. So it wasn't part of the plan.
Radis Norvegicus, that very first album that came out in April 1977, still makes up a lot of the songs that you have in the set list today. Get a Grip on Yourself, Hanging Around, Peaches,
Yeah.
are integral to a Stranglers set list. Could you not play them?
Oh, we have not played them for, sometimes I've got sick of playing a song. It hasn't done anything for me. And, the worst thing is for an audience to see that a band is just going through the motions. So we've just dropped them for a few years. Then you rediscover them,
There were 3 albums in 13 months. Album one,
Yeah.
album two, album three. I mean, that's an incredible output at that time.
Well, I mean,
How did that happen?
we've been turned down by so many record companies, so we were just accumulating material. So when we eventually were given the chance to record, it was an explosion. We'd accumulated all this material, so it was quite easy to the first two albums were recorded in the same session.
If this band was a business, you would have to evolve the business. And I was always amazed. I started off in AM radio in the 1970s, and the 1980s moved to FM radio, came down to
Right.
Melbourne, Eon FM, in Melbourne, if you remember that radio station, back in the early 80s,
Yeah.
played a
Yeah.
song called Golden Brown. And, like this thing popped up and I was playing it on the radio. I was thinking, hang on a sec, this isn't the Stranglers. But it
Well,
was
that's what the
just the
record
right
company
move at the
thought.
time.
Well, you, I don't think I'd hate to think that we were stuck to one little formula, and life's too short to play safe. Certainly, one's musical life doesn't last very long. So I suspect the intention with us was to see how far we could go, with the limited talent at our disposal. So yeah, we had to insist on Golden Brown being released by the record company. They didn't want to release it. They said, like you, it doesn't sound like the Stranglers. But at the time, what did sound like the Stranglers? We were exploring what could be done. So we invoked a clause in the contract. They released it, I think, just before Christmas, thinking it would drown in the tsunami of releases at Christmas, and it just developed its own legs and became a worldwide hit. So then, with the imagination of typical of a large record company, they said, "Can we have another one?"
It
So we
was,
told them fuck off and gave them a 7-minute song in French instead.
had you not done that, I mean, we'd gone through punk, we'd moved into new wave, we were about to go into the new romantics. When Golden Brown came out, we were still to get to the Duran Durans, the Spandau Ballets, the Culture Clubs. The
Yeah,
fact that you recorded that song then, and then Always the Sun and Skin Deep and all these
yeah.
great songs that I recall playing on the radio all through the 80s.
Oh,
You
thank you.
you actually created a 10-year extension of the life of the band, because had you been a punk band still, that would have been dated and the band probably wouldn't have got past its first 10 years.
Well, of course, but it depends on your definition of punk. Initially I thought punk was such a broad church that it could accommodate anything from that period, really. And then it became sort of a new orthodoxy. People said, "Oh no, that can't be. That's not punk. This is punk." And who creates these rules?
Mm.
At the time, we were all the same. We were all kind of bands playing the same circuit with the same attitude, the same Dr. Martens. And so when they said, "Oh no, you can't really have a keyboard in a punk band," why not? So initially I identified with the whole punk thing, and then of course when they narrowed the that sort of narrowed the definition of what it was, and I thought, no, it's not for us because we've got to be free.
Mm. Stranglers had 10 albums from 1977 to 1990, and there's been 8 albums in the 35 years since. So,
Yeah. So we're not as productive.
will there be another Stranglers album now that Dave's not around?
Yeah, but why not? I have to sit down and give myself some time to think because I've accumulated so far over 450 song ideas. So at some point, I need to sit back and analyze them and go through them.
So there will be another Stranglers album.
I'm hoping, yeah.
Yeah. And what
There's no reason not to.
what about stuff from the vault?
There's a few things in the vaults, but I think that's for another occasion because that they've already been recorded, so that it wouldn't fit in with anything new.
Hmm. But you see a lot of 50th anniversary releases, 40th anniversary releases, 30th anniversary releases, and I don't think the Stranglers have been that active in the anniversary stage of this band.
Well, I last year was our 50th anniversary, so we did celebrate that, and I mean we sold out the Royal Albert Hall in one day, which was an achievement for us, for a bunch of old critters like us. So we're still celebrating that.
Mm.
50th anniversary.
Yeah,
We'll do the same in Melbourne.
we can't wait. I'm looking forward to raising a glass with you when you get down here, JJ.
What wine are you drinking there? This
I'm an old guy, so I'm on the Chardonnay.
is a Hunter Valley
Oh no, no,
Chardonnay?
no! I beg your pardon. You're talking to a Victorian here. It's a Yarra Valley.
Yarra Valley.
Oh dear.
Well, I live right here. I'm in France, so I live right in the capital of rosé country, Côte de Provence,
Oh wow. You
biggest
can
producer of
you
rosé
can
in the
just
world.
wind the windows down and sniff it in the air.
Yeah, I can.
You
Down the
lucky
road,
bastard.
10, 15 minutes down the road, is the world's perfume capital, Grasse.
To live in France, we is anything for dash hounds?
He's great. He's great.
All
He's
right.
cool as hell. He's cool as hell.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you, JJ. Looking forward to catching up in Australia for the
Okay, Paul.
2025
Well,
Stranglers tour. Good to talk to you.
take care, man. Nice
Okay.
talking to you.